Welcome back to Golden Ticks. Now, it's been a minute for me, and I apologize. I am now in school, and I've been dealing with a lot of school things, so it's going to be a little bit for me to make videos and things like that, but I'm coming back. And now that I'm back, I have seen that Damian Lillard finally got traded. Now, it's been so long as I made my video on Dame maybe a month, 2 months ago, and I described how he needs to get traded because even if he doesn't get traded to Miami Heat, the way the Blazers are gonna be able to play and the way that the teammate chemistry is gonna be ran is gonna be hard for Lillard to come back to that team. And also with Giannis complaining, the Bucks capitalized on that opportunity very quickly. So now let's talk about the Damian Lillard and the Milwaukee Bucks trade and how Giannis and Dame might be the best duo in the league. First, let's talk about the trade. Now, first, I'm going to the Bucks side, who obviously are the biggest winners in this deal. Now, Giannis was complaining about how he feels like his team isn't adequate enough and how his team isn't going to be good enough in the long run to win more NBA championships. And I get it. It makes sense. As Jrue Holiday was getting older, Chris Middleton is very, very mid. Chris Middleton is very overrated and how he's able to play as a second option. So it makes sense how Giannis was going frustrated. As last season, when it was in the playoffs, Giannis got injured. And yes, the Bucks was able to get one game off the Miami Heat, but them being able to play without Giannis looked very sus, as they wasn't able to operate officially without Giannis, which I get it, makes sense. It's hard for a team to play without their star player, but for you to lose to the Miami Heat, who yes was having an all-time type run last season, but for you to have a better core and a better bench than Miami Heat, and for you to lose like that in that fashion in 5 games, that's very tough for a superstar type player to look and realize how hard they have to play for their team to be able to win. That was very sus to Giannis, and he spoke out about it. And the Milwaukee Bucks, every single time Giannis speaks out, or every single time Giannis grows frustrated, the Milwaukee Bucks know how to capitalize on that opportunity, which I love about this team, because Giannis is a generational talent. Those type of players you can't allow to go away. Those type of players you can't allow to just walk out of free agency. You have to let them stay, and you have to give them what they want. And they gave them what they want. Too bad that Jrue Holiday, who said the day before they want to be a Milwaukee Buck for life, that's very sad to see, as you love loyal players. But you have to give them up to be able to win a championship. You gotta do what you gotta do, unfortunately. So now that Damian Lillard is on this team is going to run a very different way now. As this team was very Giannis or bust in a kind of a simple way, but now they have Damian Lillard. They'll be more flexible at a 3-point range and also with the pick and roll area. This team is gonna be very, very good offensively. This team can win the NBA championship the way this team is formed right now, because their team last season was very good and was the picks to win the NBA championship next to the Denver Nuggets. So now that you have added a top 15 player to replace a role player on your team, that is very, very good for this team. And I am very happy for Giannis, as Giannis is one of my favorite players in the league, and I like to see these players win NBA championships. And it puts Dame in a very good situation. So Dame better not complain about him not going to Miami Heat, because this is a better situation than a Miami Heat, because the Miami Heat lost their key role players in the offseason, and they was gonna give up role players to get Damian Lillard. So the Heat would have had a good team with Dame and Jimmy, but their surrounding cast would have looked kind of iffy. But now that the Milwaukee Bucks didn't really give up that much for Dame as we thought they would give up, now that they have Dame and they still have their good bench, they are a very good team going to the NBA season. As the pick and roll between Dame and Giannis is going to be legendary. Giannis's play and Lillard playing off ball is going to be very good to watch. If you haven't watched Milwaukee Bucks games before, you need to watch these games, as the Milwaukee Bucks are going to be a very, very good team to watch. Now, let's start with the other teams that was in this deal. Now, the Phoenix Suns, I still have my take about them, as I still feel like their team is still very Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Book heavy. I'm still on that take. I don't care that they got away DeAndre to get more role players. This team is still very heavy on the offensive side of the ball, so it doesn't matter either way. But I'm glad they was able to get rid of Ayton and get some more role players that helps them out more in the bench depth area. But I'm still sus on this team. Then let's talk about the Blazers. Now, the Blazers was able to get Jrue Holiday, which I already know he's going to be able to get traded like that. So I know Jrue Holiday's getting traded because it makes sense that Jrue Holiday doesn't fit the time on this team. I mean, he can stay on the team and be able to mentor some of those young players. But Jrue Holiday is a championship contender type role player. He's able to join a team that needs one more role player to win a championship. Comes to Warriors. So it makes sense. I get it. So he's going to get traded automatically. They was able to get picks for Damian Lillard, yes, but the haul that they got for him, I feel like it should have been a little bit more because it is Damian Lillard. So I mean, I get it, but the Blazers had to get off of Lillard as it was no coming back from that trade request, and I get it. I understand. It makes sense. So Damian Lillard finally got traded, and now it's time for Dame time in Milwaukee, and that team can win an NBA championship very, very easily.